Welcome to Kids Academy.
Hello and welcome to this video. Today we'll be discussing the four-move checkmate, or as it's commonly referred to, scholar's mate. Now this is the first attack that many chess players learn about, and while it's not particularly good, you don't see this at the highest level, it is very effective and it leads to a lot of very quick checkmates. Before we begin, I want you to think about what is the weakest square, the weakest pawn in Black's position. Well, the weakest pawn is this pawn here on f7. Only the king is protecting it, and this pawn will be the target of the scholar's mate, of our four-move checkmate. And scholar's mate begins with pawn to e4. And notice how the bishop and queen are both unlocked using our opening principles of controlling the center and activating our pieces as quickly as possible. And this bishop and this queen are going to attack this pawn as fast as possible. Let's start with the queen. Where can this queen go to target, to aim at f7? Well, there are two squares. If you said f3 or if you said h5, you are correct. I recommend h5. It's a little bit more dangerous, as you'll see why in a moment. And where can this bishop go to also aim at f7? Well, this bishop would need to go to c4. From c4, it can c to f7. And if we have a bishop here and a queen here, our fourth move will be queen takes f7, checkmate. Let's take a look at this in practice. e4, e5, queen h5. Just like we said a moment ago, the queen is aiming at f7. If Black plays a move like d6, is White prepared to capture this pawn right away? Well, the answer is no, because if we do, we think about CPR for the Black king, capture, protect, or run away. And while he cannot protect, and while he cannot run, the king can capture. And that's why it's so important in the four-move checkmate to first bring out your bishop. Because now, after queen f7, the bishop will be protecting the queen, guarding the queen, as the queen delivers the mate. A lot of times I see the move knight f6, and our fourth and final move, remember, e4, queen h5, bishop c4, it's only been 3 moves so far. Our fourth and final move, queen takes f7, checkmate. The bishop protects the queen, and the queen is doing the work. The queen is attacking the king, and all the escape squares, there's nowhere to go. So that is the four-move checkmate. Black has to be especially careful after queen h5, because this queen isn't only aiming at f7. What other pawn is this queen aiming at that's undefended? The queen is also aiming at e5. So moves like g6 right here aren't very effective because while it stops the queen from getting to f7, White has this strong move, queen takes e5 check, and after Black blocks the check, the queen will capture the rook. We call this the double attack or a fork, going back to chapter 4. The bishop blocks, we take the rook, and Black is already lost. This knight is pinned and will be captured, this pawn is under attack. So let's focus on how to stop the four-move checkmate, because really that's what I want you to learn the most. The four-move checkmate is not a very good opening. You don't see it at the highest levels, so it's important that we learn how to defend it. So let's see. Queen h5, it attacks our pawn on e5, and it attacks our pawn on f7. We already said we're not too worried about this move right now, because there's no bishop protecting the queen. So the first move Black should do is protect this pawn. How does Black protect the pawn on e5? Well, following our opening principles, let's develop a knight to its favorite square. It controls the center, it develops a piece, it protects our pawn. Very nice move. Okay, White's third move in the four-move checkmate is bishop c4. Now this is a legitimate threat. Queen takes f7 on next turn will be game over unless we can stop it. Black has a few ways to stop it. We could play queen e7, protecting the pawn, but then our bishop gets blocked in, we can't activate it, we can't develop it. The best move, in my opinion, is g6. It blocks the queen from getting to f7, it doesn't block in our bishop, in fact, it gives our bishop another way to develop, bishop g7, where it can help support the center. g6, usually white will play queen f3, which looks like the queen is retreating. It looks like the queen is running. But this move actually combines defense with offense. Can you see white's threat now? Well, once again, the queen is aiming at the pawn on f7. White is preparing queen takes f7 mate. How should black defend against this? Well, again, there are several moves, but the best move is simply knight f6. Notice how black is making moves that improves the position, putting knights on their favorite squares, controlling the center, and white's been spending moves bringing the queen out too early. In fact, this queen has already moved twice, which we've already learned is not a very good way to start. Black isn't worried about the queen capturing the knight. How come? Well, because the knight's defended, and white wouldn't want to use a 9-point queen to capture a $3 knight if it meant the white queen will get captured in turn. So this knight is safe, and it blocks the queen from getting to f7. White could try one final move, queen b3, creating a battery and aiming at f7 this way, but a simple queen e7 will protect. Black will play bishop g7, castle kingside, and black is almost fully developed. The king is safe, and white has spent 1, 2, 3 moves on the queen. Queen e7 is a solid move. Black can also play the move knight d4, which attacks the queen, kind of setting a little trap. It allows white to capture this pawn with check. Notice how the king cannot capture the bishop. The queen is protecting it. After the king moves, black has a little bit of trouble. This queen is under attack, but she also has the responsibility of guarding the bishop. The queen only has one safe square in this diagonal. This is taken by the knight, this is taken by the pawn, this is taken by the knight. So after queen c4, black can chase the queen off of her diagonal by playing pawn b5. Notice how the knight is protecting the pawn. So after b5, the knight is guarding the pawn, the queen is getting chased off the diagonal. Let's see, maybe she will go queen c3. And now the king can pick up the bishop, can capture the bishop. And true, the king can't castle, but keep in mind that black is up a bishop for a pawn, so black is ahead in development. So black is ahead in development and is ahead in points. After bishop g7, rook f8, king g8, the king will be safe, tucked away in the corner, and enjoy lead in development and a material advantage for the rest of the game. So I don't recommend using the four-move checkmate in tournament play. It could be fun to try it out on a friend or family member, but what I really want you to remember is how to defend against it. So after e4, e5, queen h5, don't worry about this pawn right away. Defend your pawn on e5, bishop c4, and we block the queen. g6, queen f3, knight f6, and already black has a small advantage. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Subscribe to our channel to stay updated on new videos. Find links to our apps in the comments below.